coming. So Cantor Finkelstein, I'm going to ask you a few questions. You've served in so many wonderful congregations all over the country, all over the world, and you've written so much wonderful music. So does it ever happen to you? It never happens at Park Avenue Synagogue, but does it ever happen to you that after a service, let's say you compose the Nu Shalom Aleichem, and you go out to the Kiddush, and congregants are coming to you and asking, well, Cantor, what's wrong with the old tune? Why do we need to replace and change the tunes all the time? Aren't we just better off with I understand they're wrong syllables, wrong stresses of the words. Why do we need to change the tunes all the time?
The answer to the question is I get that a lot and have over the years. I'm very sensitive to people who say that to me because we all do not like change in all our lives, basically. We like things that we're familiar with. However, I say to these people, the melody that you like, at some point, somebody new came and composed it. Is that correct? Yes. So what happened then? Somebody came to that cantor and said, why don't you do the old melody? So at some point, we have to compose new things. Tradition is wonderful, but if we take tradition to its absurd ends, we can say, well, why don't we ride a horse and buggy today? Out of a sense of tradition. Well, we don't. We're living in a different time, a different culture. Does that answer your question?
It does. And hopefully it answers the questions of so many people who are sitting here tonight who understand why I asked you and why I commissioned a new Hashkivenu from you. So tell us about that piece that you just wrote for us, the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu I wrote sort of as a love poem. If you actually look at the translation of the beautiful prayer Hashkivenu, cause us to lie down in peace and awaken us again unto peace. It's a beautiful, peaceful, warm prayer. And when I wrote it for you, I thought of your beautiful voice, your sweetness, and I thought this is exactly the kind of setting that will work for Chazan as Schwartz. And I'm sure you'll all agree with me when you hear it in a few moments. This is New Hashkivenu.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So other than Hashkivenu, which we'll hear in a second, let me ask you a personal question. I'm about to sing something that I've never sung before. Is it fun to be a cantor?
Is it fun to be a cantor? It can be. It can be a lot of fun. It can also be very challenging, as the clergy can be very challenging. It can also be extremely rewarding. I think the most rewarding part of being a cantor is the clergy part, believe it or not. If you have a chance to be close to a family that's in mourning, and you can help them somehow with music or with putting your arm around them. If you can go visit someone in a hospital. If you're there for somebody's wedding and you sing a beautiful Shiva Barachot, you bring light to people. So yes, it can be very rewarding. It can be unbelievably challenging, especially when you have congregants who keep coming up to you and saying, why don't you stick to the old tunes?
It never happens here, but and I see so many cantorial students here in the room tonight. A lot of the students that you've taught. Give us a good advice. Give them a good advice. What do you think? What are the challenges that they are going to face in the next generation of the cantorate? And what do you suggest that they focus on?
One word comes to mind, more than any other word: relevant. So if you have a congregation that wants you to sing catchy, relevant tunes that's going to make them feel good, then don't sing old-fashioned music for this congregation. Don't do it. It's a mistake. And I think it applies to anything in life. If you want to get ahead, you have to find out what your customer wants. And if your customer tells you, I don't want white socks, I only want black socks, don't sell him white socks. Sell him black socks. That's what he wants. And this is what's happening in the conservative movement generally. It's happening in my synagogue and synagogues all around the country, where we have to find a way to bring younger people into the congregation through music, and we won't do it unless we give them the music that is familiar to their ears. And that means taking the prayers and sending them something a lot more different.
Interesting. You know, Cantor, and we're one more question, and then we're going to move on in the program. A lot of music critics criticized your music. They said that your music is bringing foreign sounds into the life of the liturgy, into the synagogue. That you're very influenced by the Beatles, by Broadway, and it loses the integrity of the traditional music. How do you feel about that criticism?
How many of you know about klezmer music? You think klezmer music is Jewish? No. It's totally stolen. It's stolen from Hungarian and Romanian folk melodies and from Russian folk melodies. Our people have been influenced by the music of the countries where they lived for generations, for hundreds of years. There isn't really anything such as Jewish music. What we have is music that we have borrowed from other cultures and made it our own. And we have expressed our prayers by borrowing other people's music. It's not such a wonderful thing, but we're all influenced by each other, and that's fine. We're all influenced, and I see nothing wrong with that. It's okay. And if the Beatles have helped me to produce La Dor Va Dor, well, there we go.